Hi everyone, welcome to tonight's Facebook Live. Let's see if I could get this a little bit better here. I don't know why it's not quite right. Hi sister, so good to see you. So if you're making it on my live, I see we have 3 people on, so please leave a comment so I can know. Feel free to introduce yourself. I'm getting kisses from my pup. And let me know if you're new to my lives. I used to do lives all the time, and I'm on YouTube and on Facebook and all over the place, so I don't like the way my hair is looking here tonight, but we're okay. So we have 3 people on, so please leave a comment and let me know who you are. Don't be a lurker, okay? Lurkers are no fun. So what do I want to start with? So hello, Beverly. Nice to meet you. So Brandy, I shared to the Julianne Face Cosmic Playground group, my group. If you want to share it to a couple other places, that works as well. And what I'm most likely going to be doing during this live is using cards to go through messages that we need to hear for the week ahead. And I have a different idea of how I'm going to do it since the last time we did a Facebook Live. But I like to open up space at the beginning for people to get personalized readings. Now, bear in mind that this is, public. So if it's something really personal that would be, that's my dog. If it's something really personal that would lend itself better to a really private reading, just keep that in mind. I'm just laughing because he's being really silly and he was totally quiet before I got on the live, and now he's being crazy. Thank you, Brandy. Thank you. So let's just start. Oh my gosh. Can you guys hear him? Like, I don't know if you guys can hear him. Anyway, so I'm actually going to switch up which one I'm using here. So let's just start by setting a sacred container. So can you guys hear him? Oh my god. Okay. He's just decided I can't even. Okay. So I'm clearing any and all negative energy from my auric field. Clearing any and all negative energy from my room, and I'm clearing any and all negative energy from from my immediate surroundings. Yeah, he's digging at the carpet to like make a bed, but he's just like decided to do this. Like, I don't know. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right, Monty, it's enough. It's enough. It's enough. All right, so Beverly, I promise that not all of my lives start this way. And then let's set up a sacred white light container around my auric field, around my room, and around the space around that. I want to call on my guides, my guardian angels. I want to call on various archangels and ascended masters. I want to call on Archangel Michael, Archangel Metatron, Archangel Shamuel, Archangel Jophiel, Archangel Uriel, Archangel Raguel. I want to call on the Ascended Masters Babaji, Hilarion, Kuan Yin, Buddha, Krishna, Vishnu, and I want to call on, of course, the Fae, who I work very closely with, and I want to call on guardian angels, my guardian angels, as well as the guardian angels of people watching, and I want to call on spirit animals, totem animals of God's white light that are willing and able to assist in this space. So with that, the circle is open. And in case you're totally new to what I do, so I'm a professional astrologer and a certified angel card reader, and my business is fairy themed. So I do work with lots of different kind of elemental energies as well as the angels. And you can learn a lot more about me at juliannefay.com, which is my website. And I'm recently on Etsy. I have an Etsy shop there. So many places you can find me. So I really encourage people to follow me on, more than one platform, because I'm not always on just one platform. For example, Facebook, I don't do Facebook Lives all the time, but yeah. So welcome if you're watching and if you're new. And what we're going to get started with is I'm going to open up the space for what I'm calling paid readings and love exchange readings. So I don't do free readings, but I'm just in the context of this live opening up space that if you want to get a mini paid reading, you can do that at a much lower cost than you would, more formalized reading from me. And the prices are there in the description of this video, which I can no longer see, sadly, because I can only see the chat here. But it should be, oh, there we go. I can see it now. So it's a 2-card pull for $5.55 and a 4 or 5 card pull for $11.11. And my PayPal is there. Actually, should probably open up my PayPal. So you can PayPal me there, and then I will check for that if you want to do that. Hi, Steven. And otherwise, I also will do a mini reading for you if you do what's called a love exchange. So show me that you are supporting me and following me on one of the platforms that I'm on. Just subscribe to that or do that, and then put a screenshot in the chat and show me that you've done that, and then I will do a reading for you that way instead, if cost is an issue. And there's lots of ways you can support me. So there's my link tree there. You can go. You can. This keeps looping me back to that, and I don't want that. Go here instead. And then if we don't really have any takers on, kind of personalized paid readings like that, I will be okay, cool. I will be, you guys cannot see my screen, right? You just see me. Yeah, it should be. Then I'm just going to go into kind of sign by sign for the week, but I've got a new way that I want to do it this time around. So last Facebook Live, I did that from Aries to all the way to the end of the zodiac. This time I actually want to group it by element. So I'm going to do the earth signs, and I'm going to do a 3-card spread for each element. So it's going to actually work out to the same amount of card pulls for me, but it's just going to be a slightly different way to change it up and organize it. So I think that'll be fun. So I'll do the earth element, the water element, the air element, and the fire element. And we'll do a 3-card spread for what element needs to know. Okay, thanks for telling me, Brandy. And it also helps a lot if you share this video. So if you're able to do that, if you have a group, or even to just share it to your Facebook page, that works very, very well to also bring in, additional people to the live that can receive. What do I want to say? I feel like I had something to say, but I forget. I'm so thrown off by Monty acting crazy at the beginning. But he's totally calm now. He had his moment where he had to make a stand. Well, I think, let me just spend a couple minutes talking about the current astro, since I do, of course, do a lot of astrology, and I write a lot on my blog. So I encourage people to check out my blog, where I do a lot of, I give it a lot of information on my blog. So, astrologically, we've actually just started Sagittarius season. So welcome to Sag season. Today we have Venus moving into Scorpio. It's probably, I believe, already moved into Scorpio, which is good. It's going to take a little bit of time, though, for these really harsh aspects to Venus that we've been under all week to start to lessen up, probably looking into more so next week, the end of next week, even into the week after that, before we start to lessen up from that. But I did write a blog post all about this. It's called When Stress Combines, and it's Venus square Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter, and that's on my blog. And I actually have the chart on the blog post, and I go over in detail at that time earlier this week what was kind of cooking in the astrals, because it was quite a lot and it was very intense. In fact, shout out for these really cool planet earrings that I got. So I actually got these from an Etsy seller, and right now I keep buying on Etsy, but I want to be giving services on Etsy. So I'd really love, if you haven't already, if you're watching this live or on replay, to favorite my shop on Etsy, because I want more people to be aware that I'm on Etsy now, because I will be doing a really fun holiday sale there, and I'm uploading more and more listings on Etsy. So just want to do a shout out to that. But yeah, so we have, Venus has changed signs, which is good, but it's going to take some time for the harsher squares from Saturn and Pluto and Jupiter, but really Saturn and Jupiter the most, because Pluto is a smaller planet, so it has a much smaller orb than the others would have. And, we are in the cycle of this new moon in Scorpio. So every new full moon has a 2-week window that we integrate that energy, right? And this particular cycle is a lot about, endings and beginnings, transformation, purging, letting go of things that no longer serve us. And I know for me, it's been a very different energy this week, for me, and even into this weekend, than what I've been feeling earlier in the month, in terms of just a lot more introspection and, yeah, but we're going to notice a lot more of a change up now that Venus has changed signs, particularly if you are ruled by Venus. I'm ruled by Venus, so I'm very affected by the changing of Venus. And yeah, so you'll notice some changes there as well. And then, of course, we're coming up on a full moon at the end of the month, the very last day of the month, and that one actually has eclipse energy attached to it. So that will be its own version of things. It'll be a much different energy than what we're in right now. And that will be a full moon in Gemini. So that's going to be very interesting, kind of crazy making for sure. All right, so let's get into giving some messages for the week ahead, grouped by element. Okay, so I am going to first show you guys what decks I'm working with tonight. So we've got, it's so funny, the title is completely worn away because I've worked with them so much. But this is the Animal Tarot cards by Radley Valentine. I've got those. I've got Cheryl Richardson's self-care cards. I've got magical messages from the fairies. And I have angel answers. Again, another box that's like almost completely worn down because I worked with so much. I also want to just, for people that are here that frequently support me, so I know Brandy is here and we have 2 people, so I'm not sure who the other person is, but I will totally pull, a focus card for you guys if you'd like that, since you're here and you're supporting me. So I'm happy to do that. Let's actually do the self-care cards for this. So Brandy, I'm going to pull, you let me know, because I want to make sure I get your consent, but I'm going to pull a focus card for you for the current energies and right now. Let me just get these oriented right. And shuffle this up. I think we've got a bit of a delay in the chat. So just let me know, Brandy, if you want me to pull a card for you. Since you are my lovely helper, I want to make sure that I'm also giving to you. Oh, we got a card falling out here. I think there's quite a long delay. Okay, cool. All right, so I've got some cards here. I think, oops, that's way too many there. I think this also is a message for a lot of us as well, because I usually the first couple cards I pull are more so like messages, for the collective as well. So I'm going to say this is for you, Brandy, and then this is also for the collective. So from self-care, I have time and faith, which are really appropriate cards here. And we have faith. Faith grows when you act without knowing the end result, right? It's an act of faith for me to show up here and hope that people are here to join me and alive. And then we have, time, schedule a sacred date with yourself. You deserve time for your life. So yeah, this to me is very resonating with the energy of this new moon in Scorpio, which is about confronting a lot of intense energies and a lot of intense potential wounds as well. This is a really powerful time to be potentially doing some journaling or doing some even grief or releasing work, doing kind of like a cry purge. I know I've been doing a lot of emotional releasing work lately, And then with the time card here, it's just saying, really, can you invest time in allowing yourself to process your deeper feelings and your emotions, you know? So that's one layer of meaning to this, which is really allowing time for what this new moon in Scorpio is trying to offer and teach you right now. Another message with this, you know, with time and faith, is about respecting that certain things sometimes are unseen to us and they do take time to develop, you know, and that sometimes when things are taking very long to manifest, we can start to lose faith that they're ever going to happen or that they're ever going to come to form, you know. And this is just a reminder that time and faith, they kind of go together, you know, in many ways, because sometimes we have to surrender the timing at which we want something to occur. We as humans kind of impose this like deadline or this idea of, oh, it should be at this time or it should be this or that. But a lot of times we're co-creating with the universe. There's other people's free will involved. So sometimes it's not quite as simple as like the timing that we think it should be at. And we have to have faith in the process, whatever that might look like or whoever might be involved, of how this is manifesting, you know. So I really love those cards. All right, so looks like I'm gonna go now into the grouped by element focus messages. And I'm gonna use the animal tarot for that. We'll see if this ends up being a little bit of a shorter live, I'm not sure. So we're gonna start with the earth element, my element. Now I'm gonna also mention that you don't want to necessarily do this just by your sun sign. So if you do know stuff about your chart and you know that you have a lot of water in your chart, but you're an earth sign, you might want to listen to earth and water. If you know that your moon sign is in fire and your sun sign is in fire, then definitely listen to fire, right? If it's a combination of fire and air, listen to both of those. So Monty is being so mischievous today. So, you know, listen to more than one element that applies to like your sun, moon, and rising sign, okay? Because that's going to help you clue into more messages than just your sun sign. I'm so glad, Brandy. They help me as well, those messages. I always find that the first messages that come out are helpful across, you know, multiple people. So let's look at the earth element. Earth element. So we're going to do a 3-card spread here for earth. Earth element. Got one there for sure. 2 here. I have to. I don't know what he's doing. He's really acting crazy. Oh my god. Okay, and then the 3rd card here for earth. Okay, so let's get into it for earth. And we've got 6 of winter is the first card. Love this card. This is like a 6 of swords card, okay? So, in fact, I have it over there, 6 of swords. It says, rescue cat, mixed breed. The challenging times are coming to an end, and you can now breathe a sigh of relief. Let the past go and embrace the happier times ahead. Now, the thing with this card is that, you know, we read that message and we're like, whoa, I'm good. Like, everything's going to be okay now, right? Like, I'm totally better. That's not necessarily what this card means. This card means that you are transitioning out of more challenging times. It's just an acknowledgement that you are now moving forward out of things that were more stressful or more challenging to you. It's an acknowledgement that things are going to get better. This card can also indicate relocation or travel because it's got movement energy to it. This can also just indicate leaving behind potentially a relationship or something, whether it be a relationship or housing or some type of circumstance or person that just really wasn't serving you and you're moving away from that, you know. But this is it's definitely a card that indicates like a big shift in your life where you're leaving behind things that were more stressful and you're moving better into better times ahead. Okay, so this is for the earth element once again. Then we have Princess of Water, and this is Seagull, an intellectual challenge that calls upon your ability to think of a matching solution. And if helpful information is put to you bluntly, accept the message without being bothered by the messenger. Okay, so this is, I believe, the Page of Swords in Tarot in this deck. And this is just like messages that come in, you know, that are part of this story of what you need in order to move forward and to help you with transitioning out of and leaving behind these more difficult times. This could be an intuitive download that comes in from you. It doesn't have to be from an outside person, right? This card here. It could be like, whoa. In fact, yesterday I was re-listening to my Facebook Live, the last one that we did, and I was doing the intuitive scrolling and like landed on this message I said, which really resonated for me at that time. And it was a little bit of a like, you know, harsh message for me to receive at that time, but it actually was very appropriate for me to be like, ah, yes, I am praying for that. I'm asking for that, and I see how there's something I could tweak there in my approach that maybe I'm not kind of following through with or doing this way that I need to do. So this can be like a little bit of a harsh truth kind of message that comes in, and this could be from something that you magnetize to yourself, whether it's like a piece of guidance that you get or some type of message that you come across. A lot of times though, this card is some type of messenger coming in, so somebody else that kind of does that, right? So this could be like a email of some sort or a letter or something that jolts you, and it's like, whoa, I didn't realize that this is actually true for me, or that this is like a reality that needs my attention here. So this is a little bit of a, you know, pay attention, because there's messages here that are trying to align and teach you things, you know. And then we have Ace of Summer, Dove, the beginning of a new emotional experience for you. You know, this could be the start of a romantic relationship, rebirth of a current relationship, or the awakening of spiritual gifts and insights. This card really indicates like a new emotional experience. And we do have the Dove there, which is about peace, right? And the first card we had was about leaving behind more challenging times. So I think that, you know, you guys might even be, those of you that are in the earth element, you might actually be in the process of integrating this message that's come in. It's possible that this message even came in, you know, where are we at? Last week it would have been, I believe. Are we already a week into this new moon and Scorpio moon? I think so. So yeah, last week we had Jupiter conjunct Pluto, and we had the new moon in Scorpio. So there might have been something that was triggered last week, which was a very shocking jolt of news or information, okay? And then also Mercury moving into Scorpio would do that for sure too. But there might have been this like shocking jolt of information, and now you're in the process of integrating that and kind of emotionally saying, okay, I got that information. Now, how am I moving forward, understanding that that's the information that's there, you know? And I just had cut the deck randomly before I set it down, and the card that I got there was Prince of Summer. Okay, so this is a really fun card about just, you know, it says things can move very quickly during such whirlwind encounters, so stay balanced and make decisions with both your heart and your intellect. So I think that as you guys are integrating the new feelings you have after that kind of blunt message came in, you do eventually move into this space where you feel more excited about life and more alive with like that manifestation energy. But for some reason, there's this message here that really had to come in, okay, and kind of shake you up a bit. Whoops, wrong card. This message had to come in and kind of shake you up a bit to potentially love yourself more, or just do something to you to change the way that you were maybe emotionally processing things in a way that maybe you weren't doing before, okay? All right, so do I want to put those back in? I will put those back in. Let's move on to water. Okay, so the element of water. And let's see what the element of water needs to understand right now. Those that, you know, element of water or strong water in your chart, what do you need to understand right now? These two cards want to come out again. I'm so glad, Brandy. And then Also, of course, I appreciate people who catch me live because I can talk with you and interact with you. But if you do catch this on replay, which I know a lot of people do, please leave a comment. Let me know that you were here. Let me know how a reading resonated with you. And yeah, I still love to hear from you, even if you're watching the replay. So please don't feel like you can't comment. You know, obviously I'm not going to be doing any card pulls if you're watching. I'm not going to be doing any card pulls customized if you're watching the replay. So sometimes I do get strange messages where people are like, card plays, and it's like, this live ended like 2 weeks ago or even more, you know. So I try to put a note now in the description of the live to just like really remind people that the live has ended and you're watching a replay, because sometimes I do get people that expect a card pull when it's like I'm no longer there and the live is over. Like it was over a long time ago. So. Okay, so which element am I doing? Water, right? Yes. And also, if you, you know, I used to do my lives on, I think it was Monday nights for a pretty long time, and then I kind of switched over to YouTube. So lately I have been getting back into my lives a little bit, and I've done a Friday one. I'm doing this on a Saturday. But I'm also open to experimenting again with a weekday. So, you know, feel free to comment as well if a weekday, you know, is more. Obviously, there's no way I can please everybody. So it's like I can't, you know, poll everybody and I can't do anything like that. But if, you know, if you feel like a weekday is better than a weekend, I'm always curious to learn, you know, so it's good information to know. Okay, so the element of water, we have Queen of Winter. So element of water, and I should recap. So element of earth would, of course, be Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, and that's sun, moon, rising. Element of water would be Pisces, Scorpio, and Cancer. Okay, so sun, moon, rising. So Queen of Winter, we have the leopard, and this is experienced, self-sufficient, brilliant, funny. It says, you know, it's time to declutter your home, clear away situations that aren't working for you anymore, disengage from people who create more drama than happiness. And this card, I believe, is like the Queen of Swords. Okay, so this is about just, which is hard for water signs, especially if you're a Cancer water sign or a Pisces water sign. Scorpio doesn't have as much trouble with it as the other water signs do, but this is about just, you know, cutting away situations and people that just really lower your vibe, they drain your energy, they just don't contribute to your life in a positive way. This is the card that really says it's time for you to declutter that stuff up, you know. And this could also be, if like nobody's coming to mind specifically with that, this could be just decluttering your home in general. Okay, so what is it that you can clear from your space to kind of like get rid of old energy and invite in new energy? It's always a wonderful practice if you're wanting to manifest, to declutter, to donate things, and you'll be so amazed at how this like new energy comes in when you do that, you know. And I'm also hearing really strongly volunteer your time. So it might be too that for water signs, they, you know, water signs want to, particularly Cancer and Pisces, they want to be comforting and loving to people. But what happens is that they often put out that energy with people that can't value it or appreciate it. So they end up in situations where it's like, what the heck? Like, I've been so comforting and loving to you, but you haven't received my love. And it's like, well, did the person ever give consent that they actually wanted that offering or that medicine that you were trying to give? If they didn't give consent, then it's like kind of a mismatch, right? It's like you're trying to hit the wrong target because that target was never the right one to hit. So getting back into service and volunteering your time with people and organizations and places that actually really, really do need your help because they are very much in need of help can be a great way to reset that type of experience and to be giving to people that really need the help that you want to give, you know. And then we have life experience, cuckoo. Important changes are coming into your life that will require you to take action. Don't hesitate to move in new directions you know are right for you. I believe this is the Judgment card, but I'm not sure. This might be Judgment or this might be Tower. I'm not sure which one it is, but it doesn't matter. We're using this deck, so in the context of this deck, it's really about, you know, you can see that this bird is on the top of the post and it's kind of looking out at the surroundings like, okay, kind of what's my next move? You know, now that I have this new awareness And there's also this energy here about kind of like detaching from the crowds. You could see that there's all these butterflies here, right? And then there's the one butterfly that's here on the post. So there might be something here too about trying to figure out your identity within the context of a group identity. So yes, like I get that I am part of this, like let's say that you're a teacher, right? I'm a former teacher, so that's like the first thing that came to mind. Yes, I resonate with education and I resonate with, teaching and helping people, but I don't resonate with it in the same way anymore. So how do I figure out a way to be my individual self while being part of this energy, cohort that might be in a shared experience with what that energy is? So I think that for water element, sun, moon, rising, and again, like this is where knowing your chart is really powerful because, for example, my moon sign is in air, but it's in the house, the 12th house, which is ruled by Pisces, which is a water house, right? So I actually have a very, very crazy omega sensitive moon, hypersensitive to energies, very clairsentient. So my moon is almost like air and water in that way. So this is where understanding your chart is so important here. But, so you guys, it's like, okay, there's a lot of cleanup energy going on here. How can I declutter the people, situations, things that I just don't need anymore? And now that I'm kind of doing this reset, who do I want to align with? And I think that these answers are going to come to you when you're not really expecting it because we've got the Four of Winter here. So this is like taking extra time for naps, sleep, meditation, unplugging, detaching, turn off your phone. I've actually not even turned my phone on for 24 hours and I do not miss it. I have plenty to keep me busy with my business and online, and there's plenty other ways for people to contact me and so much. So, I think it's like, are you trying to help too many people and you have your hand in too many pots? You need to maybe do a bit of a detox. Maybe it's a food detox. Maybe it's a social media detox. But there's a need to kind of do some energy cleanup here because I think that you're just trying to put your energy in like the wrong places. Okay, let's move forward. So we've done earth and water. I'm just taking a note. Let's do air and then let's do fire. All right, so air elements. And then of course I'm curious, so the last time I did a live, and I know I did upload that to my YouTube channel and some people watch that on YouTube. So if you're watching this on YouTube, if I decide to upload it there, please leave a comment. Let me know, if you liked one way better than the other, the elemental way versus the sign by sign way from Aries through Pisces. I like to change things up. I like to have a nice variety of ways I do things. So for me, I like to change things up. So, yeah, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm just rambling, really. Okay, so air element. What does the air element need to know right now? So this would be sun, moon, rising, or if you have strong air energy in your chart. Air element here. I feel like I do see, or I don't know, I see that it says that you shared, Brandy, so that's cool. But I still don't see the other thing we were talking about, which is kind of a bummer, but I'm assuming it's there. It's just not labeled as that. All right. Cool. Well, I'm glad, Brandy. I thought it would be cool to change it up a bit and keep things kind of lively. Let's do this one here. Ooh. This is a very chill live. I think I'm recording, yeah, I am recording this on a moon in Aquarius night, so there's a lot of detachment going on right now. All right, one more card for the air element, please. That one. So for air element peeps, yeah, we've got a lot of messages here about some sadness and some stuck energy. for sure. When I was shuffling, I did see, I don't know if it's going to come up again, but I did see the card in this deck that's about, has the sea otter, I think it is. Let me see if I can find it. I saw that one, and all of the cards we have here are variations of what that message is about. So, let's see, where is it? I really want to show it to you, and of course it's like not immediately available when I want to show it to you. I can't find it. It's so all up in its feels that it does not want to come out. Let's see here. I can't find it, but I really want to find it now. Nope, nope, that's not it. All right. Oh, I see, I see. Okay, cool. Good to know, good to know. Yeah, so I would say, Brandy, probably keep it to your name during the lives, unless we kind of like coordinate it differently beforehand. But just because I am on my laptop, so I can type, so I want people to know if that comes up that that is me. So you stick to your name, but that's good to know that it can do that. Okay, cool. Yeah, very cool. Okay, here is the card. Nine of Winter. Okay, so this card was really strongly kind of catching my attention when I was shuffling, and the cards that we have here are all in that same vein. So again, this is for air element, or if you have strong air energy in your chart. And we have release, or just, you know, again, if you just tune into this and you hear this message, it's completely for you as well. I'm grouping them to kind of get it organized, but you can resonate with messages mixed and matched because you may not know your chart, you know, very well, and actually there is something there that's of benefit to you, right? So we have release, peacock. It's time to release the past and move on to something new. This ending is the first step on the way to a happier future. So yeah, lots of releasing work here and transformation. And the peacock represents resurrection, you know, and we have this really beautiful kind of like brilliant kind of white energy against this really dark background. So this to me, it's like very black and white. It's very scorpionic, right? Which is, we're in the cycle of this new moon in Scorpio. So I think that this new moon in Scorpio, and then potentially also the energy of that Jupiter conjunct Pluto, and then even this week, I know for me, although I'm a really strong Virgo, I actually have a lot of Libra in my chart. I have 3 energies in Libra. So I do have a good amount of air in my chart as well. And it has been very, very difficult this week for me personally, integrating the lessons that the squares from the Venus at the end of Libra was doing to squaring over to Jupiter and Saturn, you know, and it's been pretty rough. It's been pretty rough. And especially if you are someone who has Libra energy in your chart, you would definitely be feeling this. You know, being kind of like stretched and pushed and pulled, kind of like, so the angels are showing me like silly putty, like being stretched and pushed and pulled to let go of certain things in order to allow space for new things. But it's still painful in that process, you know. And then we've got 8 of Winter, bunting. It's so easy to convince yourself that you're trapped when you really aren't. Trust that God will lift you to new heights and give you greater self-confidence if you affirm your freedom. So yeah, this is the card of feeling like there's no way out, you know, feeling really trapped or really stuck. And it could be too that it's like you could be processing a lot of feelings here with these cards, and you could feel very buried or very weighted down in those feelings. And then we have 5 of Summer. Focus upon the fact that God loves you and always has the highest of intentions for you. A positive outlook makes it easier to recover from life's little difficulties so that you can move onward and upward. So this is kind of like a little bit of a keep the faith card, but also a card about understanding when to like balancing the heart with the mind, you know. So I think it was just recently I was really practicing making decisions from my heart, even though my mind was like wanting to go in and overanalyze it. I had to like kind of stop and, you know, do some decision making around what my heart was telling me, because your heart has its own intelligence, right? So really catching yourself, like when you think these dark or critical or frustrating thoughts about your situation, whatever that might be, to really ask yourself, okay, what would love do? What would love say here? You know, and you can definitely incorporate listening to loving music. You know, whenever a planet is being harshly aspected, like Venus was this week, and I do write about that in that blog post, that means that that planet is really hurting, especially in the flavor or the sign in which it's being aspected upon. So Venus at the end of Libra, well, it wants beauty, it wants pleasure, it wants music, it wants art, right? So having that square over to Saturn and Jupiter, it's like pleasures feel like they're stunted or denied. The Venus square Jupiter is like overindulgence or underindulgence. So, you know, you're like scrimping and saving, like, oh, I can't do that, or I can't treat myself to that smoothie, or I can't treat myself to this or that. But you actually could, you know? So it's like this very like constricted energy of like, wow, I can't do anything or go anywhere or anything like that. Or it's the reverse where you're like, I feel so stressed out. I'm just gonna like impulse buy and splurge on things that, um, you know, in this moment makes me feel good, but then a week later I'll be like, wow, I kind of didn't need that, you know? And it might even be both things happening or flip-flopping. So because there's more than one planet that's all piled up and squaring over to that Venus, you know? So I think for the air element, it's like now moving into this energy as we're leaving with Venus and Scorpio now, it's like, again, it's going to take some time for it to really get off those squares to those planets, but looking at how can I soothe myself with soothing music, you know, with soothing, like soft, comforting fabrics, you know, things that bring in beauty and harmony and pleasure into my life that kind of unite my heart with my mind. Okay, so that's for the air element. And then let's move on to fire. So I know Brandy has been waiting patiently for fire. I didn't do that to torture you, I promise. But you have some other energies in your chart, so I'm sure you've been receiving in other ways. And then, so fire. What does fire need to know for right now? Let's just leave it at that. What does fire, the element of fire, need to know right now? And this is sun, moon, rising, or if you have the dominant element in your chart. I'm so glad, Brandy. All right, so element of fire, what do we need to know here? Element of fire. Element of fire. Got one there for sure. Nope, was nested with two. Let's put that back. I don't like when they like to, I like when the cards, so we call that a jumping card when we're pulling cards if they fall out like that, but if they're two cards and they come out like this, so here's a teachable moment, if they come out like this, okay, as jumping cards, more than likely they just were stuck together in the deck, so I usually put those back. But if it's a single card that jumps out, that I usually keep. But if it's like two or four, if you get like a whole like schlop of cards that come out, it's best just to reshuffle because it's most likely going to be too confusing for you to interpret that. All right, fire. What does fire need to know right now? I'm gonna put that one there. This one. And this one here. Okay. Interesting, this one came back. This Prince of Summer wants to make an appearance. So, you know, this is a 3-card spread, okay? So with the with this guy in the first, as the first card, this would be kind of like the past position. So this can be that you're feeling like some of your manifestations or just like your sense of kind of like romance potentially, or even just wonder of the world, it feels like it's kind of like, where is it? Because it's somewhat feeling like it's in the past, because this is coming up in the past position, you know, and it says a deeply emotional and probably romantic experience will sweep you off your feet. I do see the ladybug there in the upper corner of the card, you know, so it's like, yeah, you feel like some of this like kind of fantasy energy or this enthusiasm for life and just the way that things could manifest or be magical or lucky, even with the ladybug there, you're kind of questioning, like, where is it lately? Because this is coming up in the past position, you know. With Eight of Autumn here, Parrot, it says, it's the perfect time to learn all you can by returning to school, taking a seminar, or conducting research. Do your best work, and the law of attraction will bring you prosperity and career advancement. So I'm getting the sense that this could just be some displaced energy. It could be like, also, another important note is that Mars is now direct, and Mars is, of course, still transiting in Aries. It will be there for much longer, and I've written about that on my blog, so check it out. But, you know, with Mars now direct, it's kind of weird because it's like when Mars was retrograde, there was this great purpose, this great intense energy centered around Mars. Because even though a planet is retrograde, we still feel its energy very intimately because it's retrograde. So it's like there's more attention upon it. Then when it goes direct, it kind of softens again. You know, of course, Mars in Aries isn't soft, but what I mean is like our attentiveness to that planet softens again. So you might be feeling too like, whoa, like things were kind of like intense and there was a lot happening, but now it's settling into, it's a different kind of flavor of energy. So this could also be integrating the change from Mars in Aries that was retrograde going direct. And of course, because that wasn't a fire sign, fire elements would have been, you know, fueled by that kind of energy placement there. So this might be some displaced energy that you're trying to figure out what to do with, and something helpful for you to do with it might be to take that time to study more at this time, to, you know, read a book that you've been meaning to read, to learn something new, to maybe watch videos on a topic that you've been wanting to do or learn about in some type of way, you know. And there's definitely, there's just this sense of like, yeah, displaced energy, and that there's a way that you could use the energy that you feel is missing or kind of like not magical right now, and that you could use this, channel it into something that could actually enlighten you, is kind of what I'm getting. And then we have Four of Summer. Your responsibilities may distract you from noticing all the gifts that God is presenting to you. Be open to investigating opportunities that come your way. And this is a little bit of like a slow and steady card here, you know. So yeah, I think this is very much kind of what I was saying, how it's like things were quite wondrous and magical, potentially even, you know, a couple months back. I'm kind of getting the sense like August, September. I know that that was like a very powerful time for me. And although, I mean, I do have Jupiter at the end of Aries, so that can make me very fiery. But, you know, I can relate, I can always relate to all the piles I pick. But I think that there's a sense here with like the fire element that it's like, yeah, things were pretty kind of like hot and heavy, if you will, a couple months ago. And then lately you've been really questioning, like, where is that? Where is that energy momentum that was there? I feel like I'm not tapping into that in the same way. And with these two cards here, it's just really saying that it's like part of you is wanting to like look for that next best thing or like move forward, but there might be things in the here and the now that you could study, that or that you could learn, you know. And like for example with myself, I knew that as an astrologer I get to look at things and make decisions right firsthand for myself. So I was tracking that Mars retrograde, and I knew it would be with my Jupiter, and Jupiter rules higher education. There's so much I could say about it, but I made decisions in my life to invest in certain educational things, understanding the context of the Mars retro. I have some of those things shortly now coming to an end, but I have other things that are still going on. So I can relate to this, where it's like part of you is like, like I want to move forward, you know, with this tortoise card, like I want to move forward, I want to crawl out from under the fence, I want to like get to the next best thing. But there's also this energy still here about learning. And again, it's very related to that Mars, because yes, Mars is direct. So that could be that sense of like, I'm ready, let's go. But it's still in Aries, okay? And it's moving, it's coming out of the retrograde. It's going to take it time to, because remember when it went retrograde at like the last couple degrees of Aries. So it's technically still in shadow, okay? So we haven't even cleared the space that, so in other words, if it went to like, let's say Mars went to here in the, you know, in the astrals, then it went retrograde, it went all the way back. Okay, so once it's direct, well, we don't pick up where it was when it went retrograde. We pick up direct where it was when it was direct. And that might be like 10 or more degrees difference from where it was retrograde from. So we have to clear back over the space of where it was at the time it was retrograde. Then once it gets to the degree after that, then we move into the fresh energies. And, you know, Mars won't actually move into Taurus until January 2021. So I think that this is also a message about just like, what is it that you can focus on and do in the here and the now? And in particular, really between now and the end of the year, what is it that you can finish up studying, learning, doing? And yes, it might be kind of like a slow or tedious process to continue doing or studying that, but it's really going to produce great results and great fruits of your labor when Mars popped into Taurus, because then it's like you'll be really ready to go because you did the work of the Mars retrograde, and then you continue to finish up and tie up loose ends in that work as it was, you know, direct and moving back through those degrees. Okay, let's get like another I'm telling you, Aries is always leading the pack, because I feel like, let's get another kind of follow-up message on top of that. And this can also be just like, again, you know, potentially for the collective as well. So from fairies, what do we need to know as kind of a final message here? Whoops, they jumped out. I think I'm still alive. Okay, we're good. They jumped out and they hit my keyboard, so let me do that again. I'm so glad, Brandy. And I think, what was I going to say? Let me finish this. Okay, so kind of clarification, follow-up message on what I was just talking about here, please. Various follow-up message here. All right, we'll go with this one. Ha! So perfect. A message we all can receive. Everything's okay. Don't worry, it's all working out in a beautiful way. Okay. So yeah, I think that there is this energy here of impatience, and this could be something, like I said, you could be not a fire sign but have strong fire energy in your chart, and you could be feeling this. I think there's this energy of like impatience, or just like a lot of like feeling like you're in limbo, or that you're questioning things. You know, also these planets at the end of Capricorn, these are very, very, they're in Capricorn, okay? So this is slow moving energy, you know, and I think a lot of us are just like ready, like whether you're one of those people that's like, I don't care about Thanksgiving, I want to go right to Christmas, or if you're one of those people like me who's like, I really just want to go right to Capricorn season, and like even better January of the new year, because I love like the start of the new year and that Capricorn energy. I love it. So I think each of us right now has our own version of impatience, things that we want to kind of fast forward to, or things that we want to shift or change. And I think because there's been so much energy in Capricorn, and that is very slow moving energy, particularly the Saturn in Capricorn, okay? Because that's the slowest planet in the slowest sign. So it does not give rewards right away, and it does not give rewards easily, right? So yeah, I think there's a need to kind of self-soothe and to really be practicing what are the lessons that 2020 was about for you, right? And I think you know what those lessons are, because they would have come up for you multiple times, of course, over the course of the year, especially with Jupiter conjunct Pluto in Capricorn, adding to that story. It's a lot of Capricorn energy. So what are the lessons that 2020 has brought to you, even if they were harsh or very challenging lessons? Then of course you could still be integrating them, but what are these lessons? What did you learn that you need to put time and energy into? And how can you continue to maintain that commitment, really holding strong through the end of the year? Because when we get to the winter solstice, and I will have a really great blog post coming out on this in December, when we get to the winter solstice, you know, we are starting a new chapter with Saturn and Jupiter entering into Aquarius. And then 2021 is a super Aquarius story, no longer with Capricorn, although Pluto will still be in Capricorn. But yeah, it's going to change it up quite a lot. So, you know, and then a lot of times what happens is we're like, whoa, because hindsight's always 2020. So we can look back and say, wow, I wish I had used the energy for this or that. Well, now's the time to use the energy for this or that because we're still in it. So yeah, I think that's a really powerful message to end on. And yeah, I'd love to hear how these messages resonated with you guys. So please leave a comment if you watch this on my Facebook page. Leave a comment if you watch the replay. If I decide to upload this to YouTube, which I probably will, but if I do decide to do that and you watch this there, please leave a comment. Let me know how it was for you, and subscribe to my channel, like this video, all those things. And please sign up for my email newsletter. It's the best way to stay up to date with my latest business announcements and specials and blog posts, all the things. They go out twice a month and they're chock full of so much magical goodness. So please sign up for that. You can sign up at juliannefay.com. And then, of course, shout out to my Fearlessly Fairy, my Astro Fairy members, my membership groups, which support me and help me with my business to always be committed to showing up in service, to give messages every month. And those are wonderful offerings where you can subscribe at a low cost and you can get access to so many goodies. So you can check that out on juliannefay.com, or also I have on my Etsy shop that you can download, that month's content just as kind of a one-time payment if you just want to check it out for 1 month. Okay, so I'm going to end here. I want to close this container. I want to clear any and all energy from my auric field, from my room, from my surroundings. I want to thank all of the guides, guardians, archangels, ascended masters, fae, spirit animals, totem animals of God's white light that are willing and able to assist in this space. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm sending everyone love who had the chance to watch this. Much love.